Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
These words by former President Ronald Reagan really ring true this morning, the day after our election. And I quote, "Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives." Amen, Ronald Reagan. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and this morning a very special tribute to America. And let's have Kate Smith come on in here, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. It is. Oh, thank you very much. And yeah, I'm going to use kind of the phraseology of what happened a couple of days ago when the Cubs won the series. Trump wins, Trump wins. Holy cow. He is now the 45th president of the United States. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and all 7 locations serving you, along with our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them, get on the route service, 734-6969. On this historic Wednesday, let's say good morning to our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Great.
Go ahead with our pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done. And while I have you on the air, quick synopsis of what your thoughts were when you got out of bed this morning or stayed up all night watching the election returns.
Well, I stayed up, actually. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't dreaming. It was great. And the thing that I enjoyed the most was all the pundits just couldn't imagine that it could possibly happen.
Wasn't that, I don't want to take a lot of time here, but I want to get your response to this. I did a lot of remote dialing last night on the old TV dial, and I was watching some of the people from CNN, and I was watching some of the people on MSNBC and CBS and all the networks, and it was almost like somebody had picked up a Smokey the Bear shovel and hit them between the eyes.
Well, and a lot of them, the first thing they started to do was attack each other.
Yeah.
They were blaming each other. And I think that's pretty common with the political class, is that they just eat their own. They can never take responsibility for what they've done. They always have to push it on to somebody else.
I agree. Very well stated, sir. And thank you for doing the pledge this morning. God bless you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, I got to hurry to the weather. I'm running late, but what else is new? Time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. They've got all your carpet. They've got all your flooring. They've got kitchen construction available to you, home decor items. Whatever you need to make your house a home, they are the best. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your post-election weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, and it's going to be a nice day today. Partly cloudy skies, slightly breezy, high of 65 is what we're looking at. Tonight, low of 36. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 63 with an overnight low of 37, sunny and 65 for Friday. And then as we look at the weekend, Partly to mostly sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 63. The overnight low was 37. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. She always does a great job. Thank you very much also to the crew at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Wow, these folks can help you with the beautification of your home, whatever you need to make your house a home, at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And it's true, look for that blue door. Really good, folks. Oh, my goodness. I said to my blushing bride last night, after initially the networks had started to say, well, we think the returns now are strong enough to give us the numbers that Trump has locked up Ohio. And then a few moments later, they said Trump has won North Carolina. And then about 45 minutes later, they said Trump has Florida. And I told Goober, that's it. It is over. They can try to change the map. They can try to say, well, this can happen mathematically, etc. I said, well, those three states, it is a done deal. Trump is president, and he is. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want your response to this, and I'm going to take that caller in just a moment. Caller, bear with me, 30 seconds. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and they've got all your furnace filters. The weather is beautiful, but it's going to change. Yeah, it is. And it's going to get a lot cooler, and you want to make sure your furnace is running efficiently. Buy those furnace filters. Keep it running clean and cool and warm for you. That's right. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Also, real quick, before I take this call, I want to remind everybody about Denny's Restaurant. Delicious food at America's Diner, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch at 611 Overland in Burley, and their other location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. All the pancakes, like the sticky bun pancake breakfast and the pumpkin cream pancake breakfast. Delicious. Fantabulous. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, America's Diner, and the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Good morning, caller. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Zeb. It's a great day in the morning.
It is. It really is, Keith.
Thing that happened last night, and I didn't go to sleep till after 2 o'clock because I was so wound up. It's kind of like when I was watching the Jazz game when they were playing Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, you just sit on the edge of your seat and just hang on.
Yeah, I agree. And
the point I want to make is when Obama was elected the first time, Chris Matthews wet down his leg, didn't he? I wonder if he's wetting down both legs.
I'm not saying that he wet down his leg, but he said he had a tingle down his leg. So, Tingle. Yeah, I mean, I want to get the verbiage almost 100%. But anyway, I was happy, but now, Keith, above all, the work starts today. They have to make good on what they have won, and we need to hold their feet to the fire.
Well, you know, Zeb, I'm 79 years old, and, you know, the Lord can take me anytime He feels like He needs me. But I want the best for my children
Absolutely.
and my grandchildren.
Absolutely.
And this was the only path we had.
I can't argue with you at all, sir, and as a matter of fact, I appreciate your call as always. Keith, God bless you, man. Say hello to your wife, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
She's asleep.
Oh, okay, don't wake her up. Okay, thank you.
Take it.
All right, buddy. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know what? Let's not be gloating. Let's not go ahead this morning. And I know a lot of you thought, oh, boy, Zeb's going to rip the Democrats this morning. He's going to rip Hillary. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say that I think in this election, the elitist attitude that was displayed and portrayed by the left liberal Democrats, Obama right on down the line. Finally, people have swallowed enough of that garbage. And I think the vote just said to the elitists, go away from me and leave me alone. I revert back, and I need to do this, to a letter that was put in our own local paper about a week or so ago, and it was written by a James Ricks of Twin Falls. And basically it said, the educated and better off see Trump as a clear danger that he poses to America. The educated and better off. That was absolutely a damning elitism letter, and I've told you this many, many times on the air, and I think you feel the same way. I have many, many friends that make quadrillions of dollars. I mean, they're very well off. And then I have also friends that I value that barely make a living. A long time ago, my parents taught me that whoever you meet in life, you're going to see the same people as you think you go up the ladder. You're going to meet the same people when you come down the ladder. In other words, you better treat everybody the same, and you better appreciate the friendships of everyone. And for the elitists to have this attitude that, well, we're better than you and we're smarter than you and we've got more money than you, so you just listen to us and do things the way we want. That attitude was defeated last night. Needfully. With the Senate and the House being controlled also by the Republicans, I'm going to issue this. Caller, stand by. And I know that a lot of people that follow politics and a lot of people that are worried about the future of America are going to stand behind me on this. I say to Mike Crapo, I say to Mike Simpson, I say to anybody locally, whether they're a county commissioner, don't mess up. You work for us. Make sure you do, and don't squander this opportunity. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, sir. And it is true, God answers prayers.
Very true.
And I know I have been, and I'm sure you have been, and most of the nation has been praying for this.
You know something, Doug? Wait a minute. I want to interject here, and pardon my rudeness of interrupting you, but it's a point that I want to make. My wife and I talked about this morning at about 4:45. I said, it is great that we sit back and we revel and have all kinds of smiles this morning about what happened. But there is a time right now, and we took time, and thank God for getting us out of the left liberal garbage pit in this election. And I honestly do. And for anybody that's offended by what I say, that's your problem, not mine. I did thank God that the election went the way it did.
I also, more than once. And now I look at it, we've got a problem in front of us. We are, just take us like a family who is overextended on their credit cards, who is overextended on everything. And now the bill collectors are going to be coming around. And we are going to have to buckle down as a nation and dig ourselves out of this hole that the last 8 years has put us in.
I agree.
Well, and it's been going on before just Obama, but it has been pedal to the metal since Obama stepped in.
There has to be. You got a dog there or something? I think its tail just got stepped on.
No, somebody's texting me on my phone.
Oh, okay. Oh, my goodness. Well, listen, I agree with everything you're saying, but there cannot be, from this day forward. My job is not done here on this radio program, and anybody with any salt that wants to stand up for what's right and against what's wrong, they've got to say that really our work is beginning now, because I'm going to hold Crapo. I'm going to hold everybody that's in office. I don't care if it's Labrador. I don't care who it is, or even on a local state basis. I'm going to hold their feet to the fire that they get things done in accordance with what's right.
Exactly. And I'll be one of the first to criticize the Republican for not doing what's right for the nation and taking his special interests before the nation.
And so will I. I mean, they're not going to be turned loose to play on the kindergarten playground without having some responsibility, and I'll guarantee you we're going to hold their feet to the fire. Doug, God bless you, man. Go take care of that bird.
God bless you.
All right, see you later. Hey, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Oh, they're good. They've got that hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill in the bottom. They know all the exercises, and they've got great physical therapists headed up by Nick Greenwell. I'm telling you, the number to call is 678-1191, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, helping you get back to being you. Really good folks. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Barry Equipment and Rental, they have all the equipment to get the job done right. Don't forget, 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, and Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, along with the big one at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And they're right now, listen to this, on any used rental Bobcat equipment, 0% interest on 48 months. Listen to that, 0% interest on 48 months. Oh my, you better get in there today. Barry Equipment and Rental, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. Thank you for your patience.
Hey, Zeb, congratulations to everyone out there that wants to turn this country around. I appreciate everyone that voted, and me and my wife went out and voted as well.
I'm so glad to hear that, and I think most of my listeners on this program took the time and the opportunity to go vote, and I think the numbers, I don't know what the official numbers are yet. I don't think they've been published, but I do know that there were some races that I was absolutely astounded as to the vote count. So God bless you, but now I'm going to ask you to belong to my little allegiance of club members. We've got to hold their feet to the fire to make sure they get the job done.
You know, Zeb, I'm really glad you said that, because I was thinking that this morning, that our work has just begun. It's time to make sure that Trump says he's going to do what he's going to do.
Absolutely.
It's time that we go after the FBI, that we go after these agencies, and we show transparency. And if he is truly working for us, it's time to make him do what he said he's going to do.
I couldn't agree more.
Change this, because we were on an irreversible course, and this is our last chance at actually turning this whole thing around.
I couldn't agree more.
He said, hold the feet to the fire. Mike Crapo, Mike Simpson, I voted for them. I listened to the show. I got information from both sides, became informed, and I just thank you for that.
You're very welcome, and I guarantee you on this program, for as long as I keep this program on the air, I am not going to let them kind of play a slipshod attitude at their office. I promise that. And the day that I don't do that, I want you to call me on it, and I guarantee you I will turn this microphone off for the last time. I do not hold a candle for anybody. I hold my own, and I'm going to make sure that their candles are lit and that they do the job that they were voted for.
Zeb, you ever get too tired? All your supporters will be standing in line to take over and keep the charge going. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That's a very nice remark. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, Mike Crapo won over Jerry Sturgill and Mike Simpson. And I want to stop right here at Mike Simpson. I want to say something that needs to be said. Mike and I are not close friends, needless to say. But I'm glad he won. I'm glad he won. I am. Because he, like every other person that is getting the vote of the people to do a job, he needs to know that, number one, I respect what he has done. I don't agree with some of his policies and philosophy or his attitude or actions. But I'm glad Mike Simpson won. I want that. If you know him, tell him that. I said it. I'm upfront about it. I'm glad he won. But he also needs to understand that when he makes a faux pas, he is not above anybody else and should make, let's say, reparations to make the situation better. But I do congratulate him. The HJR5, I was very, very, very happy that it passed. And there were a lot of people that called me on HJR5. There were a lot of people that asked information, many of which are some dear, dear friends of mine. And I certainly appreciate they took the time and the effort, and it made me very humble that they called me for information. And I was glad that HJR5 did pass. So congratulations to that amendment. Thank you very much. I want to pay some bills and then get some more phone calls on here. We got a whole bunch of things to talk about here this morning, so bear with me. Don't forget, Big Green says thank you. Today, November 9th, is the day to attend the Customer Appreciation and Open House at Stotts Equipment John Deere at 119 Overland Avenue in Burley. Food, fun, and prizes today at Stotts Equipment, your John Deere dealer, saying thank you, and let's farm together in the future. Remember, from 8 this morning all the way till 4 this afternoon, open house at Stotts Equipment, 119 Overland in Burley. Go green. Absolutely. Good folks over there. You get over there and enjoy. Should be a lot of fun today. I'll wait for some more of your phone calls, and I want to remind everybody quickly about Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely doctor of hearing, and that's Dr. Christine Pickup. Right across from the Minidoka Hospital emergency room. Number to call and make a hearing screening appointment to find out what the problem is and have her help you cure that problem. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Please take my advice and call them today. Also, our thanks go out to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. What a great place to eat. And by the way, one of Sophie's waitresses is doing a senior project at the restaurant. Great idea. Operation Christmas Child. You can bring in like toothbrushes, socks, undies, crayons, backpacks, anything a child could use, and they'll be shipped all over the United States. What a great senior project. And if you bring an item in, you get a free cup of coffee or a cup of hot chocolate. And by golly, that's quite a nice deal. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Nice people. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to quickly go through some of the known winners, and I have some question marks on some things. One does not even reside here in this area. But the governor of North Carolina race between Cooper and McCrory. McCrory was the incumbent. Now, the reason I'm bringing this race up, and I think it's very important, is that Governor McCrory stood firm and said, no, not in my state are you going to make it, Obama, mandatory that boys can use girls' restrooms and girls can use boys' restrooms. No, I'm going to stand against you. He is in a race, a tight race, and it's almost 49%. It's almost dead even as of this morning on the voting, and I'm going to keep you informed on what's going on there. Let's take a look at District 24, and I'm very, very glad that this race ended like it did. Senator Lee Hyder retains his Senate seat in District 24, defeating Deborah Silver. In State House of Representatives District 24B, Stephen Hartkin won soundly over Catherine Talkington. State House 24A, it was Lance Clow winning over Dale Varney. And in the state Senate race, District 25, it was Jim Patrick, really a nice, good man, over Scott McClure. So congratulations to Jim Patrick. And Michelle Stennett won up in District 26 for the Senate seat. And in the county commissioner race that I, of course, was extremely wondering about because it was in my district, Jack Johnson won handily, very handily, over Jill Scheme. So congratulations to Jack Johnson. And over in the County Commissioner Jerome District 3 race, it was Roger Morley winning. As I said, I'm not giving all of these right now, so bear with me. But I was really surprised about one race, and we did some of the advertisements for Rick Martin. Rick Martin, I think, opened up a great door of conversation about the College of Southern Idaho Board of Trustees. Now, on the last count, we had Laird Stone defeating Rick Martin by roughly and approximately 3,000 votes. But look at the vote count for this district of trustees. Laird Stone was over 16,497 votes. Rick Martin, 13,557 votes for a school trustee vote. What that tells me, there were over 30,000 people that voted in that race. But what it tells me, and I want you to give me your opinion, it tells me that CSI Board of Trustees had better listen to the number of people that are perhaps absolutely against, or maybe some refinement and fine-tuning about the refugee center and the refugees coming into this area. That's what it tells me. And it tells me the College of Southern Idaho had better think about the numbers that are against their philosophy. That's what it tells me this morning. I want to hear what you have to say. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call on the landline. I really would appreciate your thoughts. I mean, we're waking up this morning, and my wife pulled a little story off the internet this morning that was very well done by Bill Becker. And he said, on this historic day, we can sip our coffee and breathe a little easier, knowing that God loves us and wants to see America made great again. Work with us to achieve that vision as we continue to do our part. Very well written. I appreciate that. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering qualified rebates on qualified Lennox equipment, home comfort systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah. Zeb, you were just talking about the pollsters and things like that. I think those guys ought to be doing some fast talking today because they're about worthless as far as what I can see last night.
I'm chuckling because you took the words right out of my mouth for the next part of this segment. The so-called pollsters and the so-called liberal news media, how would you like to have somebody throw an omelet in your face like the American public threw in theirs? I mean, they've got egg all over their face.
Oh, they couldn't have been any more wrong.
What do you think happened? I mean, honestly, let's talk about the nuts and bolts of this thing. I said to Deanne last night when we went out to eat with some dear friends of ours, the Hudigs and the Coates, I said to her that I honestly believe the American public is sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they're going to rise up, and I honestly think Trump's going to win. Bang! Then it started.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I also think, that even as the night was going on, at first they were talking, oh, she's going to take this and she's going to take that. But then the people that actually worked got off work and started to vote, and I think that's where the difference came in.
I agree with you, but I think you said it better than anything so far. They've got egg on their face, and boy, it's going to be a long time since their dog crawls out from underneath the back porch. I think you'll agree.
That's true. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you, sir. That man brought up an excellent point by switching the dial last night. And it was almost like we're in an emergency situation here. Holy cow. Trump is in the lead. What are we going to do? Oh, the sky is falling. I just got hit in the ear with an acorn. And some of the pundits were sitting there saying, well, no, not to worry. Don't get nervous, because now mathematically this can still happen, and maybe this will happen, and their ink pens were running out of ink trying to figure up all these other alternatives. But the expression on their faces, all these knowledgeable pundits, was one of great fear. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you about Mini-Cassia Sales. Hello, Zach. How are you, old buddy? Over at 1321 East Main Street in Burley. The whole crew, nice people over there. And they're right across from the airport. You can't miss them. They've got all your metal roofing material. They've got all your shingles, either metal or asphalt. And, oh, by the way, too, I really brag on these because I think they're the best. The Tartar Farm and Ranch gates and panels, all of that right there at Mini-Cassia Sales. And they sponsor Dr. History every Tuesday at 10:06. Thank you, Mini-Cassia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Really, really nice people. Come on, give me your thoughts, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. But the biggest concern I had, honestly, this was my biggest concern about this election. It wasn't Donald Trump. It wasn't Hillary Clinton. It was the Supreme Court. I know a lot of you are going to go, what? Yeah, it's really the truth. After reading, watching, and listening as to what's going on with the Supreme Court, and the worry about an appointment of a very liberal leftist, and Hillary had made points during the various debates about how she was going to change the complexion of the Supreme Court for the next 40 or 50 years. And then, of course, all the scare about the First Amendment and our freedom of speech, and, of course, the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court was the number one thing I was worried about. And now this morning, it's going to be very interesting as the Trump people get together and get their heads together and try to say, wow, where do we go from here? Well, we got to get some issues here. We got to take care of this. We got to write that up. They had better really start planning almost like 5 minutes ago on a nominee to the Supreme Court. That's very important. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You took away a lot of my talking points in the last minute.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
But that's not to be unexpected.
Well, go ahead and tell me your thoughts quickly. I'd like to know.
Okay. Well, I agree with you on the Supreme Court. That was really the most important issue for me in this election. It wasn't whether or not Trump got elected, but just I didn't want Hillary in there choosing those next Supreme Court judges, and there might be three that'll be those
right.
places will open up
right.
on the Supreme Court.
Right.
Now, the one thing I took away from watching all the broadcast last night from early evening way until 3 a.m. this morning is how the media changed, the reporting changed. It was just hilarious. They started out in the beginning of the evening saying, basically giving the election to Clinton.
Yeah.
And then as the evening progressed and they started losing states here and there, the tone started changing. And by midnight, 1 a.m. in the morning, they wanted to scream bloody murder. And there were several of the NBC reporters, I just couldn't believe how biased they were in the results and in the comments they were making. And by the end of the evening, or early this morning, they had gotten to the point where they were just distraught. They could see that Trump was going to win it.
And it was
one thing I took away from what happened by the media coverage.
You're 100% correct, and I'm chuckling a little bit because I turned on MSNBC for a while, and honestly, those people looked like that were sitting at the table. They looked like they were all after that interview. They were going to find a basement window to jump out of. I mean, these people were absolutely in terror.
You should have heard some of the comments. Eric Engel, I think it's Eric Engel on NBC. He's the foreign reporter that's often in the show.
Yeah.
Some of his comments were so biased. He was just, you just see him as flaming liberal. His true self was shining through. And for most of the people on NBC as well as CBS, their true selves were shining through when they were making their comments. And I thought, here they are exposing themselves for what they are. They're liberal, progressive media. They're not unbiased in their opinion. They wanted Hillary to win, and they were just distraught at the thought that Trump was winning at the election.
You know, what you said, honestly, I would love to be a little bitty mouse in the corner of some of the production rooms at NBC, CBS, CNN, whatever it might be, and just listen to the gnashing of teeth and the tearing of their hair and the smoking of cigarettes and the bringing in flasks of alcohol this morning going, what are we going to do? What are we going to say? I mean, these people are absolutely with their boot heels on the edge of the cliff.
Yes, they are, and I'm glad it happened because it exposed them for what they are.
I agree.
But so much of America is just dumbed down to the point that they don't understand that what's being broadcast to them is propaganda.
Absolutely, that's right.
Propaganda. All along, they've been talking about how Hillary had this in the bag, and they were wrong, and Trump proved them wrong.
You know, sir, I'm sorry I stole some of your fire, but you did an excellent job. God bless you for your call, sir. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, sir. Caller number 2, I'll be right there, I promise. I just got to pay some bills here real quick and talk about Dr. Bill and Dr. Liz and the rest of the crew at Ark Animal Hospital. They have warm hearts for cold noses. Yeah. And they've got a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all, and they really take great care of your pets and animals. That's right, Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Heyburn, with excellent people serving you. Warm hearts for cold noses at Ark Animal Hospital. Caller, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Once again, I'm happy.
Okay.
You know, there was a senator, like the East somewhere, but he was a Democrat and he won his seat.
Uh-huh.
And he has declared that when he goes into office, that he's going to become a Republican. Did you hear about that?
I haven't read all of it. I'd heard that rumor, but right now, this morning, I'm only going to deal in facts, not anything that might be way out there in la-la land. I'm going to deal with specifics this morning and worry about that later. But right now, I'm reveling in the fact that Trump won, the Republicans won. Now they've made a promise to us that they better keep, and that's go to work and make America great again.
Wonderful idea.
All right, sir. God bless you. Thank you so much. All righty. Hey, caller, I'll go ahead. I'll take your call before the weather. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. It is a great morning. Ben Franklin was asked after the Constitutional Convention. There was on one of the chairs, I guess, there was a sun. I mean, you couldn't tell it was rising or setting, and after the convention, Franklin said it was rising. I feel like today, the setting sun on this country, this great republic, the Constitution is rising again. So we've got to keep our feet to the fire.
Absolutely.
And I think that there's a good chance we can turn things around. And it can happen very rapidly. What happened with Reagan after the fiasco of Carter. And so it can take place very rapidly.
Real quick. Adrian,
chance for this country, but we need to get on to Simpson and our elected senators, and they need to stop the bleeding and stop funding the EPA and all these other organizations that are eating the substance out of us. Stop the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and there's a real good possibility they're going to push now, especially hard, to get that passed in the lame duck session. And so there's a real push on that. So we need to, and I have not gotten a reply from Risch at this point in time. He just keeps, there's only 5 provisions out of 29, Zeb, as you well know, that have to do with trade. The rest of it has to do with giving away our independence, and we become economically and politically combined with, eventually all the South Pacific Rim countries. And so this needs to stop. So get hold of Risch's office and Crapo's office and Simpson as well, and tell them, no, we do not want this thing because it will destroy our independence.
I agree with you.
It's a great day in America, Zeb.
It is, and I thank you for your call. I've got another one waiting in the weather, so thank you very much. God's blessings to you today. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Caller number 2, Thank you. Caller number 2, stay with me just a moment. I've got to get this weather in here, or yours truly is going to get a kick in the southern end if I don't get this on time. Don't forget Kyle James and his great staff at the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland in Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin. And Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care for you and your family. Don't forget to get your flu shot. Go do that right now, please, coming into flu season. And if you want more information, go to urgentcareofidaho.com. Wonderful people. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your post-election weather forecast for Zebit the Ranch, and it's going to be a nice day today. Partly cloudy skies, slightly breezy. High of 65 is what we're looking at. Tonight, low of 36. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 63 with an overnight low of 37. Sunny and 65 for Friday. And then as we look at the weekend, partly to mostly sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 63. The overnight low was 37. That is your weather for Zebit the Ranch.
My goodness, great weather forecast brought to you by the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care Twin, Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. Minor emergencies, they can help you. Major care at the Urgent Cares. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your patience.
That's okay. I hadn't heard or seen anything until about 9:45 last night, and when I turned on the radio, I just got down and said, thank you, God. But I also was concerned about our Supreme Court choices. But something that I need to speak about locally, what is accounting for the ignorance of people that this Rock Creek fire thing didn't pass again? It just disturbs me that people aren't aware of what they need and what will happen if we don't have this available to us. Here in the county.
I do not understand the thinking there. I know everybody's looking at their purse strings, but then on the other hand, when you talk about money saved, you're going to be talking about possibly a house fire that's going to cost you everything. Those people deserve to win that Rock Creek Fire levy, and I feel terrible that it didn't go through.
Well, and because of the fact most people don't realize, and just like last time, they say, oh, boy, it passed. Well, it didn't, because it's a different thing than
absolutely
majority. It has to be more. Was it 64 or 67%?
Right, and
hopefully next time. Sadly, let's hope that a lot of people don't lose their property in the meantime.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you very much for stating that this morning, and I agree with you 100%. Thank you, ma'am. God bless you. Very nice lady. I really did feel sorry. Some of the news media had it wrong the last time about the passing of that levy. It did not. And that's why they ran it again. And I know the firemen. I know what they do. I know their concern. And I know that they're absolutely committed to making sure that we're safe and that if a fire does occur, they're going to be Johnny on the spot to take care of it. And I was absolutely hoping and praying that that would go through. And I feel bad that it did not. I really do. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Attention, dairymen. I'll tell you what, if you need feed lanes and mangers replaced, I'm telling you to call my buddy, Tim Vaughn at Streamline Precision. You know, right now is the time to call for any building needs you need during the winter months, because I'll tell you what, they specialize in demolition and replacement of concrete feed lanes, excavation of new feed pens, gates, and shade covers. They've got all the pre-engineered steel buildings, Nucor and Prime and Sucup. Call them. The number's easy to remember. Give Tim a call, 431-7314. Tim Vaughn, 431-7314. Precision Building, working for you. All right, you give them a call right now. Please take care of that. Let me go over here. I just put the X in the wrong column. Boy, that was handy, Zeb. And don't forget again about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Yes, sirree, Bobby. Offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. You give them a call and find out more at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 678-0459, and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got cooking here. Hillary supporters. Now that was when they showed some of the cameras. in the various holding areas for the Democrats and Hillary. Oh, my goodness. These people look like they were going to go out on the street and just, oh, I can't stand it anymore. They were absolutely distraught. I mean, they were dedicated, and I got to give them credit for that. They were very dedicated, but the looks on their faces as early as about, I'd say 10:30 last night, which would have been 12:30 Eastern time, they knew the end was near. They knew that the cavalry wasn't going to run in and save them. They knew that they were in trouble, and a negative outcome was looming on the horizon. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning. What an exciting day. I was so despondent. I thought our country was gone, and I thought we were no longer a God-fearing country, and I'm glad to know that I was wrong.
You know, sir,
I just want to say God bless you, your beautiful wife, and everybody that supports our new president, and it's a great day for America.
Thank you, sir. That was very kind of you to call. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. But now the work begins. I want to stress this. Whether it's Mike Crapo, and I'm going to try, I don't know how good we'll make this work, but I'm going to try to get a hold of Mike Simpson. And Mike and I, it should be stated, we need to bury the hatchet. We do. And we need to go on from here. I'm going to say this, and it's not meant to be egotistical. He needs me. And quite frankly, I need him to express his thoughts and concerns about various subjects. So it's kind of a mutual admiration society for the betterment of everybody. But they have to have their feet held to the fire right now, starting today. There can't be any of this gloating. There can't be any of this, boy, we beat you guys and now we're in the driver's seat. Well, if you're in the driver's seat, you better have a roadmap, and you better dadgum sure know where you're going or how to get there. And I absolutely am going to commit this program, again, for as long as I'm on this program. I'm getting to be an old goat. But I'm going to do all I can now with a resurgence of a new attitude to hold, like I said, it's redundant, their feet to the fire to work hard to make sure they make a real cause for good over this election. That means all of us. They can't sit back and just say, we've got control of the House, we've got control of the Senate, we've got the president, so we don't have to do anything. No, they've got more to do than if they would have lost. I honestly believe that. They've got to prove to the American people that they can make a change for the good. They've got to prove to the American people that they are concerned about the American people. Or in 4 years, they're going to get their little fannies kicked right out of that soft plush chair, and they're going to be looking for another source of employment. Watch and mark my words. But it's up to us, to make them get the job done. We can't weaken. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Holy smokes. I mean, those guys and gals are really busy, and they've got this winter driving resource guide. And it's the handiest little piece of information. It talks about tire chains and how to put them on, and it talks about your battery. How old is it? Has it been checked lately? Will it last through the winter driving months? It talks about how to drive in all the winter conditions. It talks about all the different tires for the different conditions on dry, rain, and snow and ice. I mean, absolutely a great little resource. And go in and talk to these people about what's best for your car, your truck, your SUV. They can and they will help. All 7 locations. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, the best in brake service, and of course, always the best in tires. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. By the way, don't forget, Big Green says today, November 9th, is the day to attend the Customer Appreciation and Open House at Stotts Equipment John Deere at 119 Overland Avenue in Burley. Today, it's on right now. Fun, food, and prizes at Stotts Equipment, your John Deere dealer, saying thank you, and let's farm together in the future. Remember, it started at 8 this morning, goes till 4 this afternoon. Open House at Stotts Equipment, 119 Overland in Burley. Go Green! Excuse me. All right, I've got time for one more call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Coming up next hour, going to have a long talk with Dave Bego. Now, Dave is a close friend to now Vice President Mike Pence. And it's going to be really interesting to hear what Dave Bego's got to say that is happening or did happen last night in Indianapolis, being the home of Mike Pence. And we're going to talk to him. And then at 9:30 this morning, this man picked it 100% correct. About 2 months ago, I had Dr. Gerard Lamero from back east on my program, and he said Trump will win in a landslide. A lot of people scoffed at him. A lot of people laughed at him. But, boy, I'll tell you what, he's one of the guys. I'm going to pay a ticket for him to fly to Las Vegas with me and tell me where to put my money. He was spot on. At 10:06 this morning, we're going to have Senator Kelly Anthon on the air. And at 10:32, talking about energy, and that's very important right now, Marita Noon. So, Zeb at the Ranch, don't go away. Wheels is going to take us up to news at CBS. We'll be back in about 5-6 minutes. Oh, my, good morning, Zeb at the Ranch, and thank you for tuning in. And, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Always at your disposal, 734-6969. Get one of those dumpsters. They've got them in various sizes. You're cleaning out the garage. You're cleaning out the basement. Me, I'm cleaning out my office. Oh, boy, better get the big one. And they'll come and get them after you're all filled up. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them today at 734-6969. Real quick, I want to remind you, too, that our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them today at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Going to go to a phone line right now for a dear friend on the air this morning. He's got abbreviated time, so we've got to get right into it. And I'm going to say, wow, Trump wins. Holy cow, Dave Bego. Is Dave there? Wheels, is Dave there?
I'm here.
Ah, good. There you are. Evidently, we had a little technical problem, and we've got a whole bunch of feedback. Wheels, you've got to run that dial over there, please. And good morning, Dave. All I can say, like I said a minute ago, wow, this was outstanding last night. Your thoughts, please.
Oh, it's tremendous. Hopefully we can make America great again and bring America back and move it forward. And I think with the Trump administration, that can happen.
You know, Dave, I mentioned in the first hour this morning, and I want to get your response to this. It really wasn't a vote for the Republicans last night, and it wasn't really a vote against the Democrats. I honestly feel it was a vote to tell the elitist attitude in this country, enough is enough, back off. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think people are tired of the direction of this country and people trying to control it, and they want to take America back and to run the way it should. And our free market society, capitalism put back in place the way it should be, and that's what's going to happen.
Dave, I said also last hour that my biggest concern was the Supreme Court. Yes, I wanted Trump to win, but I was really concerned about the persons and the personalities that might be involved in that Supreme Court. Now, what are your thoughts about where they're going to go from here?
Well, I think it was important too, and I'm sure Trump will look at the right type of people and more conservative type of people, and that's a great thing because too much is going on. It's kind of like the Scalia thing. He passed away. That was a strange. I wrote a blog on that, and that was a strange death. They should have done an autopsy on it because I think there might be a real consideration that he was murdered on purpose so that the liberals could take over the Supreme Court, and I think Trump will reverse that.
Okay, if you were Donald Trump this morning, and quite frankly, I can imagine he's waking up earlier this morning and saying, holy cow, I am now the president. What do you think about his advisors and tracks to run on? They have got to hit the ground running, not in January, but they've got to do it right now to let the American people know they are organized and ready to go. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think he's already, as I've been watching and reading stuff, they already have a plan, and, he's going to have to bring people in. He's going to have a lot of people he's going to have to appoint in Washington to get things turned around in a whole lot of different areas. Because, we've got the budget problem, we got the immigration problem, we got the security problem, we got the problem with the unions trying to take control. There's a whole set of things that he's going to have to get the right people in, and he's going to have to move quickly on that, and I think he's got a plan in place to start doing that.
Dave, you, of course, know more about unions than anybody else I know, and sitting behind this desk, because of your fights with the SEIU, etc. But I was really surprised to see the numbers of support from the unions to Donald Trump. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, that was the union members, and that's what people have to understand. No, I've been saying all along, I think he's going to get a big percentage of the union membership vote. He did not have the backing of the union bosses. They put in like $110 million into Hillary's campaign, and that was without the SEIU, the union I fought, and I'm sure they put a boatload in like they did for Obama back in 2008. And they're keeping that quiet. I think they contributed like $60 million to Obama's campaign back in 2008. So yes, he did, because I think the union membership is tired of the union bosses and their control tactics and using their money for politics they don't agree with.
Dave, what needs to be done right now? As far as this meeting with Trump and Obama day after tomorrow, I'd like to be a mouse in the corner to hear what's being said, because there were some very spiteful remarks, more so than just politics, against those two. But how do you think Trump is going to handle this thing as far as a kind of a takeover platform, a goodbye to Hillary, hopefully forever in politics, and yet also not try to overshadow Obama and make him look bad? How would you handle that?
Well, he'll be professional, and if I was in his place, I'd be the same thing. I would sit down and listen to him, and I'd be professional and a gentleman with him. And if I disagreed with him, I'd just be honest and candid in a professional way and tell him why, and tell him I'm not going to get into a dispute with him in the news and that. And go ahead and continue to work on my agenda. And I think that's what Trump will do, meeting him face-to-face and in a room with him with other business people. I know he can handle it and do it that way, and I think he will.
But, you and me and everybody else, we need to make sure that the Republicans, whether it's the House, whether it's the Senate, whether it's anybody underneath the the Trump team, we all need to make sure that we work hard to hold their feet to the fire and do what they want and need to do for the American people. If we miss this opportunity, Dave, I don't think it's ever going to come back again.
Well, I don't think so either, and the Republicans got to step up and have some backbone when we get into things like the immigration situation and closing the border and, taxes and all that kind of stuff to rebuild the economy. And they're going to have some backbone on this stuff. And the problem we have, Zeb, and I go back to the term limits thing, and we need term limits in the House and Senate, is too many of these people on both sides of the aisle, they want to do what they think is going to get them votes at the next election. And we got to get away from that. We got to get away with and do things that's right for this country and have some backbone.
The number one thing that Obama was hanging his legacy on, unfortunately, was Obamacare. I can't think of anything else in a very realistic fashion that you can sit back and gloat about, because Obamacare was going to be his legacy. And right now it's got to be torn apart. It's got to be not only rejected, it has to be repealed and rewritten. What about that? How is it going to be done, and how long do you think it would take to come up with a bona fide plan that's going to benefit America?
Well, I think they can do it pretty quickly, and Trump has already made some points on what he's going to do. And Zeb, actually, if you go back and read my blog on that, one of the points I made is that, we do need to repeal Obamacare, and we got to open up competition across state lines so that, the insurance and medical industry is competing against state lines, and we have people that are working hard and being efficient to get things done, so we bring costs down. Unless we do that, we're still going to have some problems. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest things they do.
What do you think? Now, naturally, I want to think everything is going to be apple pie, ice cream, grandma. It's all going to be rosy, but I'm very concerned about the liberal left. We've already heard about clashes in California with students rioting and everything. What about some of these programs about the insanity of sanctuary cities? Hopefully that'll stop. The kowtowing to minority demands, a direct attack on crime in our cities. Trump has got a lot of things to do, and he's got to put the hammer down. How do you think the general public is going to react?
I really think the general public will react pretty well, Zeb. You got to understand that a lot of this stuff, and it's like the Black Lives Matters and all that. This is being fomented by people like Soros and Acorn and the SEIU and people like that. And this isn't the general public. And unfortunately, in California, that state is run by the unions, both on the right and the left now, because they have actually infiltrated the Republican Party out there, the unions have. And until that state wakes up and understands that they got to quit being intimidated and misled and misinformed by these unions out there, they're going to continue to have problems. But I think generally across the country, we're going to see positive things from the American people.
Okay, I've saved this for last, and it's very hurting for me. I'm in a deep state of despair. Your Indianapolis Colts went into Lambeau Field. They defeated my Green Bay Packers. They whooped them. I, a humble fan of the Green Bay Packers, stand here with my hat off, my chin tucked down to my chest, and I salute you and the Colts. You whooped me.
Yes, we did. Didn't we have a case of wine bet on that?
Don't push it, Bigo.
I'm just teasing you. Zeb, I was surprised. The Colts finally came out and were aggressive on both sides of the ball, and that's what they had to do, and it was great to see. And as you know, the Packers are my second favorite team, so I hate to see them lose, but I'd love to see the Colts finally step up.
No, you got me fair and square. And keep looking for FedEx or UPS, because there'll be something, I'm sure, coming to your attention.
Well, I thank you for that, and I appreciate you having me on and what you've done, and please keep up the good work.
I know you've got to leave early, but I want to extend to you, your family, and everybody back there, thank you for all you've done to help us with information. We'll look forward to next week. Dave Bigo, God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and have a great week out there, and enjoy our new president.
Thank you very, very much. I consider him a dear friend, Dave Bigo in Indianapolis, Indiana. Thank you for being on the program this morning. I've still got some time for some more phone calls, and I'd like to hear from you. I mean, it's a new day. Caller, I'll be right there. Stay with me. I got to just pay this bill, and I'll be right with you, I promise. I want to remind everybody about some very, very dear friends to this program, and that's Hanson Mortuary. with our dear friend Joel Heward as manager and his family and his staff serving you and your family. They can travel to the rural towns and churches to help you with the arrangements when there's a passing of a loved one. But always remember, treating you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. They really care, and they will help you. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. I'll say it again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, serving you and your family. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, and it is a good morning.
It is.
I think Trump is smart enough to know what his shortcomings are as president. And as far as I can see, he's surrounding himself with the best and the brightest. And I don't think he's going to try to run this country on his own. I have a lot of good advisors out there.
I totally agree with you, and I certainly hope and pray. Tony, I can't stress this point enough, that this is a golden opportunity. I think the good Lord, and I mean this, my religion is going to show through here, but that's fine. I think the good Lord has given this country a chance to clean up the cesspool of politics that we had and clean this country up and go forward in a manner that our Constitution was written for. We can't mess up this opportunity.
Well, I think he didn't get where he's at because he's a dummy. He knows how to play things, and he's not going to try to take the job and do it all by himself like Clinton had planned to do if she won.
Yeah. No, I just think, and I pray, that Donald Trump will surround himself with people that absolutely are knowledgeable, people that are absolutely gifted with knowing the various subjects and how to cure their ails. But I just hope and pray that this is an opportunity that will not be missed for this country, not only for me, my family, but for future generations.
Well, he's made a promise to the people, and I think he's the type of guy that will keep his promises and do what he says he's going to do, bring the country back together.
All right, Tony. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
All right, sir. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, what are your thoughts about last night? Or even early this morning. I mean, things were going on early this morning. Caller, I'll be right there. Stay by the phone. Don't go away. When you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and, of course, all the employee benefits, don't forget about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, these are the professionals. Yes, they are dedicated and responsive to your needs. Call for an appointment today at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, I think this, thank God the Wicked Witch is dead, for one. Or not dead, but she's dashed. I don't know if he's going to prosecute her or not, but the FBI has to do their job. I wouldn't want to be James Comey. Can you imagine all the people in D.C., whether or not it's the EPA, the IRS, the USDA, the Forest Service, the people that have been, sticking their nose into our lives, and we never deserve it. And so here we have a situation where common sense, I would think, would be, top of mind. And so last night when he brought all the people onto the stage with him, you know as well as I do, I've seen acceptance speeches, and whoever it was had their family with him, maybe a couple of aides or something. He literally brought everybody on. He thanked everybody. And if you're Jeff Sessions and Dr., Benjamin Carson and, Rudy Giuliani, and then Chris Christie, you were in the cabinet for one. But let's face it, like he says, I run my jobs ahead of schedule and below budget. We start cleaning up the waste in this country and do these trade deals and start caring about the people who work for a living instead of the ones who suck our system dry. It's a great day, and I trust him. He's been promising things for months and months and months, and if you listen to him, there's no way you can say, well, he's just a straight-up liar.
Yeah.
No, I believe him.
Absolutely. I thought that was very well put, Randy, and I appreciate your comments this morning. Thank you for calling in. God bless. Very well said. You know, along with Trump's winning, I think maybe we ought to add a little caveat to his win last night. Along with making America great again, maybe we'd better have something that says we need to clean up the morality. Clean up America's act. Clean it up. I mean that. There are those on the left, and they are smaller in numbers, they're the minority, that want to see everything go away from Christianity. They want to see family values, moral values thrown down in the gutter, and the resurrection, if you will, of Satanist ideas in this country. They are probably having second thoughts this morning. I hope they are. Because I want to see a resurgence of good. I want to see a resurgence of what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And wrong has to be really cast into the garbage pit. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, Scotty and Gina, and we just wanted to know if you knew what day it was.
I know that it is the day after Election Day, and I'm really trying to work hard. What's going on?
Well, we wanted to say that it's Trump Day!
Wow, from our sister station, The Cat, Scotty and Gina. By golly, it's good to hear from you. How's everything over on the other half?
We're doing well.
Well, I'm absolutely ecstatic this morning, as you probably could tell. But we also have a job to do right now. You, Scotty, me, everybody. We've got to make sure that with this election, we hold everybody to the fire and make sure the job gets done to help America once again be the country it can be.
Amen. Amen. And I think that the proper person was put into office, and so let's hope that he can make good on all of his platforms.
You know, I'm honored to have you two call me this morning. My goodness, long time no talk to. It's been great to have you on my show.
Well, you know, it's great to be there. You know, we just wanted to kind of give you a thank you and kudos for what you do over there, and you do a great job, and, you know, just kind of looking after things and helping get the electorate, you know, steered in the right direction. We just wanted to say thanks.
You know what I'm going to offer to you two right now for calling in? I'm going to offer on December 15th when I do my special Christmas party over at Denny's, Oh, why?
You're off.
I know, Wheels cut me off.
Zep's trying to call in. Yeah, it just went.
He's
We'll put you back.
Get this on now.
Okay.
All right. Kill the music. And somehow we got cut off the air, and I'm sorry about that, but I want to thank Scotty and Gina. All of a sudden, everything went dead, and I apologize for that. I had nothing as far as control, but I want to say thank you to them for calling in, and I was going to offer them for their thank yous and their gratuities this morning that, of course, on December 15th, when we do the Christmas party at Denny's, America's Diner, I will buy them a pancake breakfast. They are really good folks.
Be there with bells on.
Well, I'm glad you're still there because I don't know what happened. Everything went dead. Did we have a power surge or what?
No, I'm not sure exactly what happened. It appeared that our telos kind of had a little bit of a glitch. Not sure why it dropped, and so then I had a hard time kind of hanging it up. So we got it figured out. So luckily I was only like 20 feet away when it happened.
Well, my sincere thank yous for your kind remarks, but, we all got to work together. And whether it's CAT, whether it's K-Bar, whatever, we all have a major goal, and that's to get the population out there to the polls, vote, and try to make America great again. But now, like I said earlier, before we got cut off, Gina, we've got to make sure that we get the job done. This might be the last opportunity that we have like this.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I really hope that, this is kind of a brutal election cycle from my perspective, and so I really, really hope that everybody can put their differences aside to truly unite our country again and make it great again.
I appreciate that. God bless both you folks over on the CAT. Thank you. She's gone.
You're welcome.
Okay, thanks, Wheels. Appreciate it. Okie doke, we're going to take this opportunity for a commercial, and then we have our dear friend Dr. Gerard Lamero calling in, and we'll put him on the air momentarily. Let's not forget Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 5, and don't forget they've got all the brand new snow machines coming in, lots of them every day coming in there, and they've got a super close out on most of the 2016 four-wheelers and side-by-sides. Oh, this is where the fun is sold. Don't forget to get a hold of them today. Let's Ride. Great accessory department, fantastic service department at Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Let us go to the phone line right now. And I want to say good morning to a man that absolutely, like I mentioned earlier this morning, I wished I could take him to Las Vegas because he has great presence of mind to predict the future, and he was spot on. He said on this program over a month ago that Trump would be the winner of the presidency of the United States. The author of Great News for America, Dr. Gerard Lamero. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am doing really, really well. It's been a fun few days, and this whole week is fun.
You absolutely said it. You came right on this program. You were adamant. You said that Trump is going to win. It's going to be in a almost landslide. You said, don't worry, don't fret, America. Good things are coming. Wow. Tell us why you based your opinion on such a resounding fact.
Well, it went back to looking at numbers and looking at how the American people were feeling last year. I decided to write my book, Great News for America, in March of 2015. And I went back and researched 240-year history of our great country. And I found this pattern, that every so often the people got angry at the parties and they basically threw them out of office. And they just said, no, you're not doing the job the right way, and we're going to change things. And the last supergiant election like this was 1896, and people thought the country was in deep trouble. They were worried the Constitution would not survive, and our country wouldn't survive. And they were worried about law and order in the streets. They were worried about the economy. And you know what? They're so similar. And they basically had a historic election, and that's what made me really think that this is what was going to happen. But then, I also did my homework on the numbers and things like that, and I could see things that the polls were doing wrong because I know, I've had some, training in that in statistical methods, and And I recognized, gee whiz, they're doing some things wrong. They're not sampling right. They're using old models. You know, they were acting, the pollsters were acting like this was 2012. And, you know, that Hillary was going to get the same turnout among blacks as he did. And they were making all sorts of assumptions. And, you know, I'm sitting here, and on my computer screen, I have the predictions of the mainstream media. Associated Press gave it to Clinton. Nate Silver and 538 website gave it to Clinton. Larry Sabato over at the University of Virginia, the Center for Politics, gave it to Clinton. And you go down the list, everybody gave it to Clinton. What's going on? Well, they were using old models, and I've been saying that for months, and say, what are you using an old model? This is a special year.
You know,
so it came out the way I thought. I made a mistake on 3 states, but that's not so bad.
No, it's not. Congratulations. Absolutely. I take my hat off to you. Dr. Lamero, I said this earlier this morning, and I want you to respond to it. I personally don't think it was a vote for the Republican Party. I don't think it was necessarily a vote against the Democrats. I think it was a vote to tell the elitist in our society, leave us alone, go away, and stop treating us like you know better than us.
You know what? I think you are a wise gentleman. I really sincerely mean that, because this was not a Democrat versus Republican election. This was an election between the citizens and the elite in Washington. They were sick of them. And that, if for no other reason you didn't look at any polls, you could have predicted Donald Trump, because he was the outsider representing the people, and Hillary was the consummate insider representing the corrupt. And I will say corrupt, and I think that it'll be proven out that there's corruption, but, you know, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. But I think she did represent the inside elite who were ignoring the people. And you know what? As has always happened in our 240-year history, the people won.
Now, Dr. Lamero, another thing I said last hour, I want you to respond to is that, okay, I honestly believe that the good Lord above gave this country another chance for right to be right and wrong to be proven wrong and put us under. But we cannot let the House or the Senate or the presidency slip on this issue. They've got to maintain a focus, because this might be the last chance. We've got to right the course of this nation. We've got to hold their feet to the fire.
I agree with you again. I think you're 100% correct. And I think that the good news, the really, or if you want to use my book title, the great news, is that Donald Trump is the one who's leading it. The American people have picked a leader. Donald Trump is a no-nonsense guy. He calls a spade a spade. He's not afraid to be politically incorrect if he thinks he's speaking the truth. And I think that he is the kind of person who's going to get people in a room and say, let's get this job done. I mean, he knew how to overcome all sorts of problems to build his company up to a very, profitable and successful company. He's been able to deal with, petty regulations of governments where he's had to build buildings and golf courses with all sorts of bureaucrats standing in his way. He knows how to get things done. He's going to get them done. And you're right. This country needs to get them done. That's why he was elected, to get things done.
Let me ask you about your thoughts or your fears about the left, the liberal left, that absolutely they thrive on chaos. They thrive on negativity. What do you think will possibly happen in this country with the left not really buying into Trump being the president of the United States?
Well, they're gonna follow their game plan. They attack, and make a lot of noise, and that. But you know what? I think Donald Trump, if they want to go overboard and and take their protests and turn them into riots. I think he's going to support our law enforcement officers, and he's going to restore law and order if they get out of hand. I think for the most part, when he starts raising the economy with his tax cuts and his cutting of regulations, and people's incomes start going up, I think he's going to become more and more popular as he goes on. We're going to get a new Supreme Court. He's promised to elect or nominate people like Antonin Scalia, who was the brightest and the best conservative on the court. And he's promised that that's the kind of people. So we're going to have a new Supreme Court. We are going to have a great country. And that's why I called the book Great News for America about this election, because I saw this coming, and I think we're going to have a great 4 years. I think we're in for good times.
There is one group of people, if you will, that I think when they all get together again and they sit down at their respective seats again, there's going to be a lot of raised eyebrows and gnashing of teeth, and that is, as a union, the United Nations. I bet you they're really wondering what kind of trouble they might see.
Absolutely. In fact, they may start losing some of their funding for climate change and some of those other wacky liberal ideas. And I'll tell you, I know a little bit about modeling, computer modeling and that, and I know the models with the climate change is a lot of hocus pocus, that is not true science. That is politics turned into some numbers to make it look like science. So I think their funding for a lot of programs is on the way out.
What do you think about the people that it's going to take to run a new, fresh government? I mean, whether it's the Secretary of Defense, whether it's the Secretary of Interior, whether it's the inner workings of the cabinet. I think Trump probably will get and call on the very best and the very brightest. What are your thoughts on that?
I think he does that all the time. And you know what else he does? He brings out the best in people. I've talked to people who know him closely. I've talked to people who know his employees closely. And everywhere I go, I hear them saying, this man brings out the best in me. He brings out, my talents. He recognizes things I don't recognize, and he encourages me. And so I think he's going to pick the best and the brightest. I think you're going to see people like Newt Gingrich become Secretary of State, and he is a bright man. He's smart. And I think Rudy Giuliani might become the Attorney General. And boy, wouldn't it be good to have a tough prosecutor in that job who pursues people that break the law? And I also think, I'll just throw in another thing, I think he's going to pick somebody like Trey Gowdy to be the special prosecutor who's going to pursue the Hillary case. Because don't forget, there's a lot of charges out there and a lot of evidence that funny things have been happening with the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative. When Secretary Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, some strange things going on, and all those need to be investigated. And if the Clintons or their staff have violated the law, they should be called to account, because everybody should obey the law. No one is above the law.
You know, Dr. Lamero, with your insight to politics, what are your thoughts this morning about Hillary, the Clinton machine, and those that thought it was a slam dunk? And they must be sitting right now in total rejection and total despair, not knowing what to do, where to go, or what door to walk out of. I mean, this absolutely must have been a real cold fish in the face to them.
Oh, I think so. And I don't think Hillary handles rejection well. And she was rejected in 2008 and was beaten by Barack Obama for the nomination. This time around, she got the nomination, and she couldn't win because she was up against somebody who was trying to change America for the better. And she had basically no plan. So I think this one hit them, right between the eyes. I don't think they knew it was coming, and I think they believed their friends' polls and the media that were telling them, oh, you're going to win, you're going to win. I remember, 2 weeks ago? I'm sure you remember, they're saying, oh, this is over. She might as well skip the debate. She's won this election. Trump might as well go home. Guess what? They're wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely wrong. And they're wrong because they didn't understand what the American people wanted this year, and that's why they lost the election.
Well, and there has been some people called me earlier this morning, and they said in regards to Hillary and the left, oh, well, now let's forgive and forget and go on. You know, wait a minute. Forgiving and forgetting about illegalities and illicit use of money, fraudulent use of money, and the Clinton power machine has done a lot of things that are not exactly above board. You can't excuse that, and I still think there needs to be a lot more investigation. Your thoughts?
My thought is we're going to get the investigation because I think Donald Trump believes in law and order, and he believes no man is above the law. And I think that there have been things the WikiLeaks have told us. You know, there's a possibility that they obstructed justice. There's a possibility of perjury before Congress. There's a possibility of bribery. For example, you know, the Russian deal where 20% of American uranium was basically given away, given, you know, some type of contract or something to a Russian oligarch, and then all of a sudden Bill Clinton gets a $1.5 million consulting fee, and this is when Hillary was Secretary of State. That sounds like bribery. And the list of possible crimes, Rudy Giuliani and Sean Hannity, I think, got together, and Rudy had 16 different potential crimes, 16 potential indictments that could happen. I think the new administration will pursue that because that's their job, to prosecute people that violate the law.
Dr. Lamero, one thought I'd like to pursue this morning before I have to say goodbye is the thought of energy. We have been having climate change and green energy, wind and solar crammed down our throats that we have to change everything. We have to pay billions and billions more dollars to go with the green energy program. Your thoughts about what you think is going to happen right now with these concepts of green energy?
I think they're going to go the way of the dinosaur. I mean, if you listen to scientists who really look at the data, and I'm not trying to just get grants from the government, make the government happy so they can get some more money, and you look at the facts, the scientific facts, the climate change catastrophe is just not proven. It's a hypothesis that conveniently allows people to pursue socialist policies and take over everybody's lives so that they can say we're saving the planet. And I think the planet's going to do great with Donald Trump as president, and I don't think the planet cares who's president, to be honest. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to have energy development. We're going to get out of these crazy climate change treaties and things, and we're going to start doing things that make sense for change. So I see a great future for us economically and energy-wise, and I also think we're going to get our freedom of speech back, too, and stop playing all these games, you know, climate change. 1 year it's global cooling, 1 year it's global warming. Anytime you get a snowstorm, that's climate change. Well, you know what? It's been snowing a long time before they ever invented climate change.
You know, one last thought, and that's the economy and trade agreements that are going to benefit us, the American people, first, and other countries secondarily. Your thoughts about what might happen here with the economy?
Oh, I think the economy is going to boom. I think we're going to have 3-4% GDP growth. It's going to take about a year or two to get all the stuff in place, get the regulations cut. You know, the economy is a big engine, and you got to basically tune it up before you take it out on the road, because it has been, you know, it's been treated poorly for the last 8 years. So, but in all honesty, the economy will perk up. It'll take maybe 18 months to really get started, but you're going to see things happen. We're going to see the stock market go down, I would think, in the next week or two, because people are getting rid of all the stupid investments that were sort of like government cronyism related, and they're going to start putting their money into energy companies and into the future building of the country. I think the economy is going to do fantastic. I think all of us, on average, are going to be making more money.
You know, the subtitle of your wonderful book, Great News for America, really sums up what happened in the last 24 hours. As it says, the Constitution, freedom, and prosperity are coming back. Dr. Gerard Lameiro, I really can't tell you how proud I am to have you on this program and also to have your prognostication come really true this morning. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on this program.
Well, thank you for all you do on the radio. I think you're a great host and a great American.
God bless you, sir, and you can count on it. I'm going to be calling you in the future to have you come back soon. Thank you so much.
Good. God bless you, too.
Thank you very much. A very wise man, a very knowledgeable man. A great book, too. Great News for America, Dr. Gerard Lameiro. And he hit it right smack dab on the nose. He said a long time ago that Trump was going to win, and it happened. Wow. And he explains how. Great book. Really great. Let's see. What have I got to get on here real quick? I want to remind you about something that's going on right now. And if you're not a part of it, my goodness, Big Green says thank you. Today, November 9th, it's the day to attend the Customer Appreciation and Open House at Stott's John Deere Equipment. That's right, Stott's Equipment at 119 Overland Avenue in Burley. Food, fun, prizes, my goodness, at Stott's Equipment, your John Deere dealer, saying thank you and let's farm together in the future. Remember, they started at 8 this morning, going till 4 this afternoon. Open House at Stott's Equipment, 119 Overland in Burley. Don't forget, go green. Oh my goodness, I got to get a weather forecast on here. Old Wheels is sitting over there, and he's got his hand over the button just ready to start it. And the weather is brought to you by Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, and Company. Don't forget Curtis Pope, Todd Phillips, Rob Oaks, Mitch Goodwin, Leiden Crane, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, bookkeeping services, on and on and on. The list goes with services to you and your business and your family. 2 locations, 1710 Overland in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert, and that's Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your post-election weather forecast for Zebit the Ranch, and it's going to be a nice day today. Partly cloudy skies, slightly breezy. High of 65 is what we're looking at. Tonight, low of 36. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 63 with an overnight low of 37, sunny and 65 for Friday. And then as we look at the weekend, partly to mostly sunny skies, highs are going to be in the low to mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 63, the overnight low was 37. That is your weather for Zebit the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and thank you to Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, and Company. CPAs, Curtis Pope, Todd Phillips, Rob Oaks, Mitch Goodwin, Leiden Crane in Burley and Rupert. Absolutely serving you. I've got time for a couple of calls. Wheels, are you there? How are we coming in? I've noticed a little bit of static. Is it okay on your end?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It might be just a little bit of feedback.
Okay.
But other than that, you sound great, and it seems like you're having a lot of fun over there.
We're having a good time, but I don't know what happened. We went off the air about 20 minutes ago or so, and I'm certainly appreciative that you got us back on in a big hurry, and thank you. But again, thank you to Scotty and Gina on our sister station for their well wishes. Good folks over there. We appreciate them. Got time for some calls. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. It was a long night last night for a lot of people. There was a lot of happiness. There was a lot of sorrow. And to the left that lost, there's no sense beating them down. They lost. They don't get a participation trophy. They lost. And I absolutely think and feel that right now we have a chance to reestablish good in this country. We've got to sit down and look at the things that are going on. We've got to sit down and look at the minorities that are clamoring for their voices to be heard with some very sleazy type negative atmospheres. We've got to really start analyzing what's best for the majority in this country to progress into the future and, to steal Trump's words, make this country great again. There is so much that we've got to address. We've got to address the insanity, and it is, of sanctuary cities. We've got to address the insanity of minority demands like Black Lives Matter and others. We've got to absolutely have a direct attack on crime in our cities, i.e. Chicago primarily, and a real support to our policemen, our firefighters, and people that serve us in the military. We've got to restore respect. Respect. And I'll say this, if the liberal left gets in the way of this restoration of respect, then they have to be tuned up to the point where they learn and understand that goodness, right, will prevail, and evil will be put asunder. It has to be that way. We have seen this country being ripped apart from Ferguson, Missouri, back to Baltimore, and all points in between. It cannot happen. We've got to restore a common thread, a common goal in this country to make this country unified and treat it like it should be as the number one country in the world, and be proud of it. Be proud of that. I am not at all ashamed when I talk to anybody anywhere in the world that I live in America. I am an American. I'm proud of that red, white, and blue. I'm proud of what this country stands for. I do not make apologies for anything. Lead on. And the Obama legacy, if you will, is only 71 days from being put to rest. And then we can change things, I think, for the better. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to tell you quickly about a dear friend, and that's Precision Building and Tim Vaughn. Don't forget, Farmers and Dairymen, Streamline Precision, offering pre-engineered steel buildings made for the long life use and maintenance free. They right now know that you're making plans for increasing and improving your property. Maybe you need a metal shed for something. Maybe you need some work on your dairy. Whatever the case might be, they can help and they will help. They've got the very best of steel buildings, Nucor and Sucup and Prime, and they're ready to go to work for you right now. So call them at 431-7314. Tim Vaughn and Precision Building, waiting for your call, 431-7314. Wow. Next hour, we're going to have a dear friend of this program and a very, very astute representative to our state, as Senator Kelly Anthon will be on the program. And we're going to talk about the election results. Then at 10:30 this morning, we're going to be talking to Marita Noon. Nobody knows energy better. Nobody can explain to us what she thinks is going to happen right now. So I'm looking forward to that with Marita at 10:30. All kinds of goodies coming up on Zeb at the Ranch. Right now, we're going to send it over to Wheels to take us up to CBS News. Oh, here we go into hour number 3 on an absolutely fantastic day. The good Lord really gave us a pretty day outside, and it looks like it's going to stay this way for the rest of the week. Good morning, Zebeth Ranch, and of course, our major sponsor that we want to highlight and salute, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. Stop in and see them today, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Wonderful, wonderful people. Want to remind you, too, don't forget, right now it's going on. Big Green says thank you. Today, November 9th, at the, of course, Customer Appreciation and Open House at Stotts Equipment. John Deere at 119 Overland Avenue in Burley. Food, fun, and prizes. Going to have a fun day today. It started at 8 o'clock this morning. Your John Deere dealer saying thank you and let's farm together in the future. And it's going on now. Open house at Stotts Equipment, 119 Overland in Burley. Go green. Right now, I get a chance to talk to a gentleman that I have all the respect in the world for. He really cares about his constituents, and he really cares about the state of Idaho, and that's Senator Kelly Anthon. Good morning, Kelly. How are you?
Well, good morning, Zeb, and thanks for that nice introduction. I appreciate that.
Well, it's the truth. You've always been Johnny Good Boy Scout coming on the program whenever I needed help, and I appreciate that. And give me kind of your own personal thoughts about what took place in the last 24 hours. A lot of people did not expect it to be a runaway like it was in favor of Trump.
Well, I think it says some pretty important things, Zeb. I think especially the national election says some pretty important things. Let's just think about it. Think of the polling data going into this election. Of the 11 national polls in the final week of the race, only 2 of them even gave Donald Trump even so much as a chance of winning the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
And they were criticized for that. So what do we learn about the polls? What we learn is, at very best, they're working on some bad info, some bad data. They're just making some mistakes. But at very worst, the advanced polling is being manipulated to try to influence our elections. Now, if that's true, that's a very big concern for all of us. And we ought to really think about how much stock we're going to put into these polls in the future. But that's one takeaway I had from the national election. The other thing is, I think what this vote says for Donald Trump is that, and it restores a lot of faith in me about the people of our country, that we're going to stand up for the rule of law. I hope that's what it says. And what I mean by that is, we have had the President of the United States over the last several years, when he doesn't like what a law is, or what Congress has done, whether it's in the past or recent history, he just orders otherwise. And that is not how our Constitution was set up. So I think that people are seeing that unless you have the rule of law, unless you follow the Constitution and you follow the separations of power, you don't have a country anymore.
You're right.
And we've seen this take place in the treaties President Obama has pursued with Iran, health care laws that were shoved kind of down our throats, and I could go on and on. So I have some confidence that this election says people have turned back to their understanding of the rule of law. I hope that's true. You know what else, Zeb, I've been thinking about is I hope it says something about money in politics. If you think about it, when Hillary Clinton and Bill left the White House, Hillary said they were broke.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up, and their net worth today, after 8 years, is estimated at $111 million net worth. So even if you don't like Donald Trump and you were crazy about Hillary, or you're crazy about another candidate and you voted otherwise, we as American people ought to be asking ourselves, how did the Clintons get into $111 million in 8 years?
Right. You know,
and then the other interesting thing is that you realize that Donald Trump spent about half of what the Clinton campaign spent to get votes. So I have some hope that the influence of money in politics, those people who think they can buy things, I hope they realize that maybe the value of their dollar is not where it used to be. I hope that's true.
You know, Kelly, I
also kind of think, Zeb, that it was a referendum on trust. Now, I'll tell you, I have friends on both sides of those candidates. I had some liberal friends on Facebook, for example, telling me what a liar Donald Trump was. And so, but what you found out was that trust became a kind of central theme in people's analysis of who to vote for. And I think that's a good thing. No matter who people voted for, if we can look at politicians and require them to be trustworthy, to be honest, and to keep promises, that's a step in the right direction for the country. So, no, I have lots of thoughts about this, Deb. I don't want to monopolize the time.
No, that was very eloquent and very well done, but I want to insert some thoughts for you to elaborate on. I have said many times this morning already, Kelly, to many other guests that I feel it was not a vote in favor of the Republicans per se, and it was not a negative vote no against the Democrats. It was a vote to tell the elitist in our society, those that have their nose way up in the air and think they're better than the rest of the people, enough is enough, and knock it off. We want a government that's back working for us. We're not working for the government. I think that's what it was.
Oh, Zeb, I think that's a huge part of it. You know, I think of my constituency. You know, we don't like people in Hollywood telling us how things are going to be. We don't like them looking down on us, and we don't like traditional American values and patriotism and some of these things being scoffed at and dismissed. And that to me speaks a little bit to your comment about these elitists who consider us in the flyover parts of the country as dummies and people who just don't matter. And that's what Donald Trump, I think, spoke to in large part, was giving back a voice to people who are otherwise dismissed. And of course, the big controversy during the election was Hillary, disparaging those people. People who supported Trump are deplorables, people who are not educated, who are, not worth your time. And I think that if nothing else happens, to wake up the political system in Washington, D.C. to remember that these elitists don't run everything, and they're not going to run anything if we have anything to do with it.
You know, what about now, though? I've got to ask you the same semblance of questions. Now is a golden opportunity. I believe it's a gift from heaven above, the good Lord himself, to right the course of this nation, and put it back on a moral compass course where right is right, wrong is wrong, and wrong will be put asunder. We can't relax on the ability that the Republicans are going to take over office. They can't sit back and rest on their laurels. I quite frankly, as a talk show host, I'm going to hold you and everybody else accountable to get the job done right.
Well, that's right. And what we've seen in the recent past, is that even when our party, the Republican Party, and I say our, I mean my party, the Republican Party has obtained power in Washington, D.C., they haven't got very much done. And we've seen in this election that even some of our Republican politicians wouldn't support the party and the party candidate. And so I think, Zeb, that one thing that's encouraging to me about Trump, and listen, we've all had our moments with Trump where you kind of scratch your head. But the thing that's encouraging to me about Trump is that I think this is a guy who surrounds himself with really good people. And I think that's his business instincts. When you don't know something, you hire the very best guy and let him go after it. And I think I very much hope that what we see play out in the next few months is an administration full of the types of people that will restore some of those values and some of those principles that you're just talking about. I really think, as I've said before on your show, Zeb, the critical juncture for this country is the appointment of a Supreme Court justice. And so I'm exercising every bit of faith I have that Donald Trump keeps his word and that our Senate will support him in putting a very good constitutional judge on the bench who is not about activism and not about changing the face of the country through judicial decision. So I have this hope. I think we're in a good spot with Donald Trump. I hope that he will select good people, and we're going to see some movement in the country in the right direction.
Let's talk a little bit, if we can, sir, about the state elections. Let's talk about the resurgence of people that were up for re-election and they were challenged. What are your thoughts about what happened on a statewide basis?
Zeb, what's been interesting on a statewide basis is I think over the last, especially 8 years under Barack Obama as president, the state of Idaho, our people have a kind of a libertarian streak to them, and we've in the past not been afraid to vote for Democrats. I mean, I think growing up, I'll tell you, Zeb, when I was in high school, the Idaho State Senate was 50% Republican, 50% Democrat. Now, that might astonish people, but that was a different day. And it was a different Democrat Party as far as I'm concerned. But today, with the left seeming to have hijacked the Democrat Party, Idaho has taken a real right turn, and I'm not criticizing that. I think it's great. So I think when you look at the election from last night, what you see is that I think those who were Republican in districts that really struggle, I think in some of the Boise areas, Senator Fred Martin, for example, out of the state Senate, but some of those districts are hard to win for Republicans. But we held on to those seats for the most part, I think almost every seat. And then I was looking up north in Moscow. We have Senator Dan Schmidt. He's a Democrat. But it looks to me like he lost his race. And he was a good guy. But I think what you're seeing is with this political thought process happening all over the country and people coming in to vote for Trump, that translates into gains for conservatives in Idaho. And I think they don't want my advice, but I think the Idaho Democrat Party really needs to think about how to reach out better if they're ever going to do anything in Idaho.
You bring up an excellent point.
They don't identify with our values anymore.
Absolutely. You bring up a really excellent point that I'd like you to pursue a little bit further. Before this election took place, Kelly, yesterday even I heard pundits on television and radio saying, oh, the Republican Party is in such disarray. Their platform is a mess. They're going to lose this election. There's going to be a complete transformation of this jigsaw puzzle called the Republican Party. Whoop, wait a minute. Screen forward a little bit to this morning. What happened to the Democrats, and are they in total disarray?
Well, what I like about what you just said, I think illustrates one of the great concerns I've had as I've watched the election process this year. And that is that I really honestly believe that democracy and a Republican form of democracy relies on an honest, non-biased press, a freedom of press, good people out there reporting the facts and not trying to influence that through journalism, or what they call journalism. And I've been utterly shocked, Zeb, as I've watched the mainstream media absolutely unashamed in their bias. And I've wondered what's happened to the country. I hope that I don't know that it will, but I have in my faith that this will teach some people that kind of biased reporting and that kind of tactic will not win in the United States today. I just hope that's true. You know, I was watching this morning on the news. If you know who Rachel Maddow is, check out how she behaved last night. MSNBC, supposedly, a news agency. She nearly had a meltdown on national television because Donald Trump won. Is that reporting?
No.
I think that I hope that the younger generations in our country will appreciate the absolute importance of a free press that is not being paid or emailing behind the backs of the American people to one party and trying to get advantage in a very dishonest system.
What I would like to see, and it's a personal pet peeve with me, Kelly, I would like to see the total destruction and the total demise of political correctness in this country at any shape, any form. I think people need to get out and work. People need to have their own responsibility, lead them to a future path to success. We've got to stop this program of everybody gets a trophy, everybody gets a blue ribbon. Political correctness has been, in my opinion, the downfall for this country the last 8 years. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are this, Deb. I think the Americans are really good people. I really do. And we all know there's a few there that we're not real proud of. But on the whole, no matter what your political leaning, I honestly believe that people don't want to discriminate or be discriminated against. But they want to be treated fairly, and they think everybody should be treated fairly. I think that the political correctness stuff that's happening in our culture is an industry. I really do. I think it's an industry that makes people money, and I think it should come to an end. I think the good thing, though, Zeb, is, and I think this election shows it. People are onto it. People are onto it, and I hope that I think it's going to have to be something that changes culturally, and I think it is changing culturally. I think it has changed even in the last 10 years. People are wise to political correctness and what it really means.
One thought I have on the national scale, and then I want you to talk a little bit about the state, is that whether it's Raul Labrador getting reelected, whether it's Mike Simpson getting reelected, or whether it's Mike Crapo getting reelected, I feel that they need to hear also the message, you'd better be more of a listener to what the people back home are asking and telling you to do because you work for them. It's not the other way around.
Well, yeah, Zeb, and as I looked at the results on those in some of those races, they're pretty interesting because those candidates, and granted, you're dealing with some different districts as you look at the numbers, but those candidates, Mike Crapo, Congressman Simpson, they don't win by the margins that you might expect.
Right.
In our state. And so I think they know, honestly, that there's some frustration. I certainly think Senator Crapo recognized that in this election. Spent a lot of time in Idaho. His comments about Trump were not popular, and he had to respond fairly quickly to that. At the end of the day, they were the best candidates in my opinion, but no, there's some concerns. And I also have hopes that with the right leadership from the White House, that Congress will have to heal just a little bit. And, you saw Donald Trump really struggle to get some of the support of these congressmen. I think that's going to come home to roost pretty quick. So, no, I think you're right. We always have to be voicing our opinion, keeping the pressure on, even those who are popular, even those who are easily popularly elected. They need to know what the people need and want. I'll tell you personally, Zeb, and I mean this with every ounce in me. One reason I like to come on your show is because it's my chance to talk to those people who are my friends and neighbors, but people who I would like to come vote for me. And the other thing is, and this is the honest-to-goodness truth, too, during the legislative session or out of the legislative session, it is super valuable for me to have one of my constituents call me or send me a letter because, the fact is you can't be an expert about everything all the time, even though I might sound like a know-it-all. But you need people to let you know what the issues are, and you need people to tell you what's important to them. And so for that, just in my experience as someone who's been elected, we need to be doing that on the congressional level. We need to be contacting them and telling them this is important, this is the issue.
That's really well stated, and you've always been really accessible for talking on this program or answering questions, etc. And what did you think about some of the races for District 24, 24B, District 25? Those were good people that were challenged, and I'm really glad people like Jim Patrick, Lance Clough, Steve Harkin, and Lee Hyder, they all retained their seats.
I couldn't agree more. I've worked with all of them. At the end of the day, you'll never agree with everyone on everything. And so when you go to those polls, you have to, in my opinion, select somebody who most closely reflects your values and the things that are important to you. And there's no doubt in my mind that those legislators in District 24 that you've mentioned do a very good job representing the values of their community. And they do a good, and I say a good job, they do a good professional job at it. They're respected, they're well-spoken, they're very thoughtful, and so I couldn't be happier. I think that it would have been a mistake for us to take a turn otherwise. Yeah, that's my opinion.
And real quick, Kelly, before I run out of time and wheels, I'm getting an awful lot of feedback here this morning. If you'd kind of watch that a little bit. Talk about the success of HJR5.
Well, HJR5 was important to me, as you know, Zeb, and I'm very happy to see it succeed. It was a closer vote than I thought because, to me, it was such a no-brainer. But as I went about, I actually got a lot of calls on it. As I went about talking with people about HJR5, I realized that there are some very good, smart Idahoans who have some very good reasons why they oppose that. And so I respect their opinion if they voted no on it. However, I also think that there's a certain number of those no votes of people who just didn't understand it. And I think that might be a good thing, too, because here's why. I think that we're a conservative group of people, especially here in southern Idaho, and when we see a proposal to change the Constitution, unless we understand it thoroughly, we vote no. And that's not a bad thing. So very happy. I think it may be one of the single most important moments in voting history in the state of Idaho. That's how important I think it was.
Well, I want to compliment you and thank you. I know you've got to hit the trail and go to some meetings, and I want to say thank you for your time this morning. Senator Kelly Anthon, thank you so much for your picking your brain this morning to talk about last night's election. God bless you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Zeb, and God bless.
All right. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting and informative. And one of the gentlemen, along with Fred Wood and Speaker Bedke and all the others that have really been so helpful on this program to provide knowledge and insight as to what's going on politically, and I thank him very much, Senator Kelly Anthon. Thank you. Don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, yep, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them today at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Oh, don't forget my dear friend Tim Vaughn and all the good folks over at Precision Building. They are ready. Right now they're chomping on the bit to go to work for you. That's right. They are all set to go to maybe put up a brand new pre-engineered steel building from Nucor or Prime or Sukup. They have absolutely the best. And attention dairymen, if you need feed lanes and mangers replaced, you better call Streamline Precision. They specialize in demolition and replacement of concrete feed lanes, excavations of new feed pens, gates, and shade covers. They can help you with all of this. And now's the time to call. 431-7314. 431-7314. Precision Building and my friend Tim Vaughn. You give them a call today. Right now we're going to send it back over to Wheels at our main studio, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to our last 30 minutes of the program this morning. A very interesting program, and quite frankly, a very historical program. And we want to remind you before we get our next guest on the program, don't forget, going on right now, Big Green says thank you today, November 9th, and that's the Customer Appreciation and Open House at Stotts Equipment, John Deere, 119 Overland Avenue in Burley. Food, fun, and prizes at Stotts Equipment. Right now, your John Deere dealer saying thank you, and let's farm together in the future. Remember, it started at 8 this morning, goes till 4 this afternoon. The Open House at Stotts Equipment, 119 Overland in Burley, and go green. Right now, a lady that I have so much respect for, her knowledge and her ability, and I'm not going to waste any time. I want to get her on the air this morning and talk about energy, talk about energy makes America great again, along with the Trump campaign. Good morning, Marita Noon. How are you?
I am over the moon, Zeb. I know when you and I talked, when we booked this interview on Monday, we were not sure where things were going to go, but I'm mighty happy.
You know, Marita, I can't speak for you, nor do I want to, but I want to get all your opinions on what happened. I mean, last night, we went out to eat with some dear friends, and at the restaurant, we were kind of keeping track of what's going on, and then when I got back to the ranch, we saw that Ohio was in Trump's corner, and then North Carolina, then about 45 minutes later, Florida, and I looked over at my blushing bride of 45 years, and I said, it's a done deal. Trump is going to win the presidency. What were your thoughts about all the occurrences last night?
Well, it was the same. I had a little election watch party at my house last night that I kind of threw together yesterday morning, and so I had some friends here, and we were watching, and we were high-fiving. I mean, when Trump took Ohio, I put on Facebook, no Republican president has ever won without taking Ohio. You know, and that was huge. That was a huge moment. I went to bed before we knew that he had taken Pennsylvania and before we knew that he had won, but it was certainly looking, favorable for that. And so I went to bed and I woke up and I got my phone out and looked on Facebook, and that's how I knew that Trump had won, was from Facebook. So, I have put my heart and soul these last 6 months or so particularly, but into doing everything in my limited power, and my power is limited, but it's bigger than the average person on the street because I do have a microphone and I do have a platform. My work is published very widely, and I have done everything in my power to ensure that we have a president who understands the important role that energy plays in America.
Okay, now that being said, and God bless you for everything you've done, I just absolutely salute your diligence. Here we go, day one. It's a clean slate. It's a new football field. We've got fresh uniforms. What do we do to win the game? I mean, what happens next on energy?
Well, I mean, I think we're going to see a big change in rolling back regulations that will make a huge difference. We're going to see a change in emphasis. I mean, the biggest thing right now is, which nobody much, I don't think, is focusing on, is that right now, going on this very day, is the climate change meeting in Marrakesh is going on, where each country is supposed to formalize their commitment to the Paris climate agreement that Obama got us into. And Trump has campaigned on, one of his big things is overturning that and getting the U.S. out of that agreement. And it's not signed, and he can get us out of it. He's talked about ending all the payments that go to the UN green programs. And the people in Marrakesh, I can only imagine their horror and their shock when they saw that Trump won, because with Trump as President of the United States, the entire global climate change agenda falls apart.
Now, that being said, though, Marita, I mean, we've still got 70 days of Obama left. Are you concerned that this man, with the stroke of a pen, is going to do something or impede something or try to push something to the forefront that will damage our energy systems more before he leaves office?
Yes, I am very concerned about that. But I don't think that he can do anything that cannot be undone. I am very concerned that he will do that. In fact, it's very interesting. I got a tweet this morning, and I've done several radio interviews, so I haven't had a chance to follow up on this. But I got a tweet from one of the people that I call one of my wind warriors. And in fact, she's one of the people I quoted in my column on Breaking Wind. And she said, her tweet said, that the stock Investis, which is the largest wind turbine manufacturer, has tanked with the news of a Trump presidency. And so we're already seeing that elections have consequences. And already this morning, the wind industry knows that, its days are numbered, and the stock has tanked. So, yeah, I am concerned with what President Obama will try to do. We saw him on the campaign trail this last week, really begging people to get excited for Hillary to protect his legacy. And his legacy is very important to him, and climate change has been his big legacy, and it is going to fall apart. So I think he will try to do some things, but he's not going to have the Congress. I mean, he can't do anything legislatively. He can do things by executive order, through regulation, but those can all be changed.
Let me ask you this, and you have the insight and the knowledge to give me a really good answer on this. What about the liberal left? What about the loons on the left that absolutely want control of the American people through an energy program like green energy? What about the Virginia coal miners? What about the Tom Steyers and the George Soroses? I mean, my goodness, there's a multiplicity of questions and answers that need to be had for the furtherance of American America's energy program. You wrote a column this week that said America needs more energy, not less. What do you think is going to happen with the environmentalists and Donald Trump?
Well, they are not going to have a red carpet into the White House any longer. That is for sure. They're not going to go away. Tom Steyer is not going to give up, but their access is going to be totally limited through politics. The Republicans maintain the House and the Senate, and we now have the White House, and we're going to see totally different policies. Now, I don't think that the environmentalists are just going to pack up their bags and go away. But what I do sincerely believe and hope, but I believe this is not just hope, that the economy is going to turn around so dramatically that people are going to follow Trump kind of like the Pied Piper, and that the environmental issues are no longer going to be in the headlines.
So is there hope? I guess I'm pushing this a little bit to be more defined, but is there hope for that family in Virginia that might lose their property, lose their home, and have to go find another source of employment? Is there hope for the energy grids to maintain a level of consistency?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, I can't say it loud enough or strong enough that yes, there is hope. I mean, there is a certain element of some of those coal jobs that are lost are probably lost for good. But we are going to see such a reversal in policies that I believe some of those coal-fired power plants that are scheduled to be shut down will now have a longer life. They will not be shut down. I believe the Clean Power Plan is dead because even if it ends up in the Supreme Court, we're going to have Justice Scalia like a new Supreme Court justice. And so even if the Clean Power Plan ends up in courts, it's going to be shot down. But I don't think it's even going to end up there under a Trump presidency. And I've followed this, and I've asked the smarter people than me, how can Trump reverse this? Can he? And there are ways. So I do believe that we're going to see a total reversal in these green energy policies, which means new life for coal-fired power plants that were slated to be shut down. And so we will see, I believe, the at least partial revival of the American coal industry.
Donald Trump has said many, many times in many speeches that he wants to bring jobs and manufacturing back to the United States. You wrote very, very poignantly in your column about manufacturing being energy intensive and it necessary to come back to the United States to make us all flourish. Elaborate on the manufacturing, if you would, for just a moment.
Yeah, and I'd love to, because the gentleman that I quoted in my column, I recorded my little internet radio show that I do every week. I recorded with him for 30 minutes this morning, and his name is Harry Mosier, and he is the founder and president of a group called the Reshoring Initiative, and their tagline is bringing manufacturing back home. And he helped me with this week's column. Didn't even know that this group existed, but in my research for writing my column, America Needs to Use More Energy, Not Less, I found him in an article and contacted him, and he was very helpful to me. But we are already seeing actually manufacturing losses have leveled out. We're at a kind of break-even or net point of jobs coming back to America versus jobs leaving. And energy is our big advantage. And I didn't know. Let me back up. I knew that Europe's electric prices, energy prices, are much higher than America's, and we've seen businesses coming from Europe to the United States to take advantage of our low energy prices. But what I didn't know is that China's energy prices are about 50% higher than most of the United States. So when you look at some of the other factors, it makes sense to keep industry in America, where especially the energy-intensive industries, where our costs are so much lower.
Is it safe to say, as we wrap this up this morning, Marita, that the big dog on the back porch is stretching his legs and it's going to become even greater in the future? That being the United States of America.
I firmly believe it. I firmly believe that we're going to see a whole new era of American greatness.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate your column, Energy Makes America Great. Marita Noon with the book, of course, Energy Freedom. God bless you and thank you, and we'll call you and have you on the air again next week, Marita. Thanks much.
I appreciate it, Zeb.
Take care. Thank you. Wonderful lady, and when it comes to energy and energy issues, nobody knows more about it than she does. Marita Noon, absolutely excellent. Oh, my. I've got to get a weather forecast on here as I try to stretch my knee underneath the desk and almost tipped everything over. I did have a little accident before. I was using a little bottle of whiteout during our interview with Dr. Gerard Lamero, and I dropped it. I got whiteout all over everything. Anyhow, the weather brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats. Oh, my goodness, 331 North Road, Jerome, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. You will not find a better custom meat processor. They've been the best for over 20 years serving you. And by the way, they can process all your wild game, too, and make it into salami and brats and jerky and breakfast sausage, all kinds of goodies. Be sure and get a hold of Scarrows Meats, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your post-election weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, and it's going to be a nice day today. Partly cloudy skies, slightly breezy. High of 65 is what we're looking at. Tonight, low of 36. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 63 with an overnight low of 37, sunny and 65 for Friday. And then as we look at the weekend, partly to mostly sunny skies. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-60s. Yesterday's high was 63. The overnight low was 37. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. Very well done. Scarrows Meats, our sponsor at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call them. Find out more information. 324-7657. They do change the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Thank you, caller. You're on the air. Good morning.
Well, Zeb, I have a brother that lives in Las Vegas, or Henderson, a son that lives in Spokane, and you can imagine that the machine, the Democratic machine in Vegas is pretty corrupt. And that's how Harry Reid kept getting reelected, and that's how they win that election in the state of Nevada. And if you look at the state of Nevada, it's all it is the little blue area, Park County, and then the rest of it's as red can be. And you can imagine how disenfranchised the rest of Nevada feels, even Reno. And then you look at Washington, and it's the same way. And my son, the people in eastern Washington feel disenfranchised just all the way across. All it is the Seattle area that dictates what the rest of us feel.
Yep.
And you see, you get to the point where you say, it really is rigged. And so, we won, but you see, in the future, if there isn't a great communicator, and I know you can say whatever you want about Trump, but he was plain spoken. He said it in a way, and we believed him. He kept promising that he would do it. I believe him. And thank God. And maybe, just maybe, we can turn this thing the right direction. And, think about it, whether or not it's Mike Pence who will run next or Donald Trump's one of his sons. Maybe, however it works out, if the future is a heck of a lot better today than it was yesterday.
It's too bad, Randy, think about this and give me a short answer on this. But wouldn't it have been great for television and us, the audience, if maybe they would have gone to, they being the networks, gone to Harry Reid and gone to Barbara Boxer and gone to Nancy Pelosi and others and asked them if they would wear a wireless mic during the returns last night so they could check in and hear what they had to say. Wouldn't that have been interesting, Randy?
Well, I'm going to tell you, yes. We think they always act so nice and whatever this occurs, the Democrats. But below the scenes, they're a very devious bunch, and there doesn't seem to be anything pure about their intentions, whether or not it's the people voting for them to get what they want, to get control. Thank God this occurred. Maybe this is there's 7 miracles that saved America. Maybe this is the 8th.
Yeah, but you know something, Randy? I'll leave you with this thought. Give me a short answer on this. I think now the onus is on us, the American people, to make sure the job gets done. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I believe that Trump is, yes, I think that he is so proud of running a business below budget, ahead of schedule, like he continually says, that he's going to clean this inefficient mess up. You and I couldn't live like this. Yes, and we're going to hold his feet to the fire, but I think he's going to surround himself with great people, and he's not going to micromanage,
I agree. Thank you, Randy. God bless you, man. Appreciate your thoughts. Appreciate it. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead quickly, please.
Okay. Hey, I just looking on Facebook. I got some friends on the left that I communicate with, and I was just reading some of their stuff. And 8 out of 10 of them are stating, we better go buy us some guns. It's going to get all crazy with Trump in there.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
I'm offended by that. Why can't we sit down, okay? I said the other day on the air something, and I meant it, and I took a lot of heat for it. I cannot abide by the left policies. I cannot abide by the wrong is now right and right is now wrong. I said that on the air. But I never said anything, nor will I ever, about resorting to violence and, oh my goodness, the sky is falling and we're going to have to shoot each other. That's ridiculous and asinine to even employ that kind of thought.
I know it. I was sitting there looking at that and going, what?
Yeah.
They were talking about going to Mexico. No, don't go to Mexico. Go to Canada. No, I can't go to Canada. It was unreal what they were writing, and I'm just sitting there shaking my head. I'm thinking, really?
You know what? I got a suggestion for them on a place where they can go. They can go to church, get on their knees, and thank God they live in America.
Very good. Very good. I like that.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zebediah.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you very much. What's going on?
Go Cubbies. Go Trumper.
I appreciate it. All right, Bob. Thank you much. Appreciate it. Go Cubbies, go Trumper. Okay, thank you. Oh, my goodness. Thanks you to our big sponsor, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Man, this little winter driving guide that I've got here that was put out by them, really interesting about, tire chains and how to install them and how old is your battery, how to check it and everything and make sure it's going to do the job for you, how to drive in all the different conditions, snow, ice, rain, etc. And they have the proper tires for that kind of driving. You better stop in and check it out today at all 7 locations. Along with all the tires, the best in brake service. Along with the brake service, the best in front end alignments, shocks and struts, and of course all the batteries. They've got it all for safe wintertime driving right here in this area. So you stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family over in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Nobody better. Nobody. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Tomorrow is Thursday, and we're also going to commemorate and celebrate on Friday's Veterans Day. We're going to have some special folks on the program tomorrow. We've got the Chamber of Commerce report. We've got Dog Nation. We've got Rita Ramsey. I cannot wait to hear Rita's response to all the things that have taken place in the last 24 hours. Just all kinds of great people, so don't miss the program tomorrow. We'll start at 8:06 and ride the horse till 11. 3 hours right here on Zeb at the Ranch on KBAR 1230 AM, and then streaming live all over the universe on ZebBell.com. And my thanks always to Wheels over at the main studio. Does a great job. I really think a lot of that young man. He's just absolutely been a godsend. And, of course, my lovely bride, etc. We want to wish you a very good day. Keep your chin up. It looks like the sun's going to rise again tomorrow morning, and we're going to have a better country. Let's hope so. Zeb at the Ranch, the way things were, the way things ought to be. We'll see you tomorrow morning.